All right, this is John Krasinski, Pittsburgh Soccer Now. Um, Going to cut right to the chase. Tonight was a really busy night in the WPIAL boys soccer. A lot of games that meant something, a lot of matches that decided section titles, things like that. But the one that we focused on, our featured game tonight, was a good rivalry match between Shady Side Academy, one of the schools I used to coach many years ago, and Deer Lakes. And those two schools are so close to each other. A lot of the players always know each other so well. But tonight, Deer Lakes came out on top after Shady Side beat them 2-1 earlier in the season. Deer Lakes comes out on top with a 2-0 victory. Michael Sullivan, obviously, a couple amazing goals. And Dan Yates is with me, the head coach from Deer Lakes. Dan, just kind of your reaction to tonight's real great win for your club.
Yeah, it's a good win for us. It's a very good win. After the way we played against them at their place, we weren't happy and we wanted to right a wrong, and we did that like to perfection tonight. The first 20 minutes of the game was ebb and flow and ebb and flow, and then they started to get a bit of a foothold, and I was a little like, oh my goodness, it's going to happen again. We're going to not play our game plan, and they're going to beat us. Um, the first time we actually connected 4 passes, we went in and scored, and then that just calmed us down. Like, and then it was a well executed game plan from halftime onwards.
Yeah, and what is it that they do so well? That you guys lost 2-1 over there. It was their first match. I'm sure they were more well rested than you guys at that point. I know you were a little frustrated with that match, but just kind of what makes them so tough, and it really looks like there's so many good teams in 2A. It seems like, but a lot of people are pointing to you guys and Shady Side as being the teams that are have been up there the last few years. So what makes them so good, and what made it so difficult for them as an opponent?
So how they play is like they get men around the ball. They make it hard for teams like ours who possess and want to switch the play. They get 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 men at times around the ball. Now, if we're not executing a game plan of moving the ball and switching it from side to side, then they're going to hustle around the ball. And they've got Sam, they've got Joey, 2 fast kids up in their repertoire that can just get it. And on any given day, they can beat 3 or 4 or 5 players on the field. So we have to be wary of that today. We take Sam Farner out of the game today. We take Joey and Nania out of the game today. In the second half, it was very controlled. We could have scored 4 or 5 in the second half. We held on for the last 5, 6 minutes, like obviously because they're pushing. They go 3 at the back, and then it just changes our mentality. But yeah, they're a good side. They're well coached. They know how to play against certain teams. We watched film on them. I've watched their games about 15 times this last week, just to pick up on little things that they do and players that are not as well technically gifted as your Sams and Joey and Anya and stuff. And we set up a game plan for that.
Yeah, and down the road, I mean, there's been numerous years where this match, or at least in recent years, where Deer Lakes ends up seeing Shady Side again in the playoffs as well. So I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
yeah. It'd be fitting if it was a good final.
that would
Because
yeah.
to me, I feel like we're both the best 2 teams in Class Two. Um, the way that we both play the game, the way that we manage the games, and I just feel like from last year, our section was absolutely stacked with us, Shady Side, Mount Pleasant, Freeport, and Burrell. We had 8 tough games, and it was brilliant for us. Now this year, we've got Burrell and Shady Side because the others left that are very difficult games. Like Leechburg give us good games, but it was inevitable that we'd probably win them games. So yeah, it's been a tough adjustment to not having the harder games. We've played a little less this year, obviously with COVID and not as many non-conference games, but we're at the point now where we wanted to be at. Still in shout to win the section. Hopefully, Borough can do us a favour tomorrow, like they did last year, and beat Shady Side or take a tie, and then we beat Borough on Monday and we're section champs again.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen in the final week, but obviously your players, you've got you've got a really good core, especially midfielders that
Yeah.
have been together for so long. Just talk about them and what they mean to your club.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I keep saying this and again and again. So you got Mikey Sullivan, Devon, and Colton Spence. Those three, they've grown up like playing together. Then they all played for Arsenal together, their club side. Um, and just the way that they are during sessions, during video, during traveling on the bus, they're so influential on the other boys, and it's starting to pay off with like Ryan Haynes and Mikey Butler, the sophomores, and Nate Litterin and Nick Braun. They're all understanding now how they work and how it needs to be going forward. Because once we lose them this year, after we hopefully get all the way, um, it's then their time to step up and shine. And the boys are doing a very good job of coaching the younger ones and leading them.
And a year like this with COVID and all this crazy stuff, communication is important. Just making sure everybody's on top of everything in terms of staying safe and healthy. Having that type of senior leadership, a lot of the coaches have been talking, been asking this question, but having that really does help.
Oh yeah, it's massive. Like I since the beginning of the season when we got to actually start practicing, my if I could take those boys and put them in the bubble like the NBA did,
Yeah,
and just have them in there, I would, like, because for the 7 seniors this year, it's a massive thing. It's the last time they'll play high school soccer, and with COVID being around, like, you just never know what's around the corner. And I reiterated that fact tonight, because of obviously if we get a case, then and it's playoff time and they're not going to reschedule the playoffs, like, we're going to have to forfeit the game, and that'd be absolutely heartbreaking. So I reiterated that fact tonight with the boys. I was like, if you guys want to make it to the final, you have to just stay within your bubble, your team. Like, it's 3 weeks time. Like, whatever you do after the 3 weeks, you can go and hang out with your other friends and do whatever you need to do. But for this next 3 weeks, the discipline has to be 100%.
yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline for all of us just in our everyday lives to stay, stay safe, stay healthy. So
Yeah, certainly does.
that added focus to it with when other people are counting on you, that
Yeah.
sort of thing, and that seems to be an echoing theme throughout. So seems like sounds like it's on your end, but things crazy things can happen. So well, anyway, just this tonight's match, you kind of went back and forth, but just Michael's 2 goals. I mean, I've heard nothing but. I mean, I was listening to the audio version, so maybe walk me through kind of what he did there.
Yeah, that kid is special. He really, really is. And I said this last year, like, he's the best kid I've coached by a country mile. And I said to Bob today, and I was like, if he doesn't make it pro in America, there's something wrong with the system. Not just for his talent, not just for the way he is on the field, his attitude, the way he just presents himself. He's one of the nicest kids in the world. He's so focused. He's so driven. Like, if he doesn't play big D1 school and then make it pro, like, we need to shoot every scout that's in the country, because he is insane. His goals tonight were just like, when I got to the field today, he just had this look on his face. Like, when he turned up and he just looked at me and he nodded and he was like, I've got this. And I just said to him, I was like, go and do what you do. You can't coach that boy. Like, you can give him pointers and tell him like where he could have done a little bit better with certain things, but you can't coach him. You just got to take the reins off him, because he can dance around people with his eyes closed if he wanted to. His first goal tonight it was the first time we actually made combinations from left side of the field into the right side of the field. And we literally went from left back into our holding mid into our far side attacking mid. And that was a trigger point for us, that if that ball goes out wide, one of our attacking mids has to get forward, and he did. And Ryan Haynes has played a beautiful ball. Mikey still had a lot of work to do, and he's cut back onto his left foot. And as soon as he pulled it back onto his left foot, I knew it was in the bottom corner. It was a sublime finish, and it was definitely what we needed just before halftime, like 44 seconds before halftime, and it calmed us down. It absolutely just the weight off our shoulders was gone. We came in at halftime. We addressed a couple of things, and we reiterated the fact that we need to keep Sam Farner and Joey Hinania quiet. If we keep them quiet, it's game over. Don't get me wrong; they've got good players, but they make Shady Side tick, and if we don't make them tick, we win the game. And then the second goal was good from us. We set press. We set. I talked about pressing traps a lot this last week and a bit, of not just running at a player and trying to win the ball. Like we set traps to try and get it on the second and the third phase. And we did that tonight. Ryan Rogers did a fantastic job of pressing and won the ball, and he's played it into Mikey's path, and Mikey's stuck one top corner. He's got everything, that kid. He really has. He can finish with his left, finish with his right, his head, free kick. He's just, it's special. It's fantastic to stand on the sideline and watch him play.
Yeah, I mean, I remember 2 years ago when he was a sophomore, just seeing the progression. And this, like I said, that squad made it to the state final and surprised a lot of people. So they've got that going for them. They've got last year's, bitter taste in their mouth after.
Yeah, they have. They certainly have.
That was the last time I talked to you in person, I believe. So, that was I'm sure that's going to be something that's going to be sticking in the minds of you and your players as you progress into the playoffs now.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where we are. I mean, so next week, hopefully you'll get a week from today, we'll be getting the playoff seedings, and I mean, I'm seeing some of these scores come in from 2A. I mean, North Catholic is beating Quaker Valley, and
yeah,
probably win that section. Surprised a little bit that South Park lost twice this week. They ended up losing again tonight.
Okay.
Losing to Forward. So it's just a lot of good teams kind of spread out in 2A. So it'll be interesting to see. And Charleroi, is doing their thing. And Mount Pleasant's over there with them. And so there's a little bit more competition for Charleroi this year. So it'll be very, very interesting. Can't not wait to see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely a good 2A. Like it deserves the credit it gets, because it's a tough division across the whole board. When you've got, like, the final from last year was us and Quaker, and it probably should have been us and Quaker going through the season. Like this year, I told the boys, I was like, we got to the final last year. We've done that hurdle. Now it's that next hurdle. Now we have to go and win it this year. Otherwise, it's a failed year for us, because you've always got to progress, and you've always got to get better than the season before. So that's it's either we win it or it's bust for us.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see how everything progresses in the playoffs. Dan, I really appreciate your time tonight. It's great having you. It's always great talking to you, and we will talk, I'm sure, soon again as when the playoffs start. We'll be talking again.
We certainly will. Thanks, John. Keep doing what you're doing for the Pittsburgh Soccer. It's fantastic what you do.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, John.